Hi, brothers and sisters. So I'm at the hospital right now, and John's been admitted into the hospital. He's been sick with breathing problems for a few days now, and just has the flu. I don't know. They did x-rays. They're going to see what's wrong with him, but I wanted to make a video today. I had a dream last night, and I wrote some notes down here about it, but this dream brought me to Palestine and Israel, and the things that are currently happening between them right now in the world, and have been going on between them since Israel became a nation, and even escalating even before that. So in this dream, I was at a person's house that I know. Her name is Diana. I was at Diana's house, and I had come across these two dogs. One was a daddy dog, and one was a baby. It had a baby puppy, and they were lost. And I managed to save the puppy. I brought the puppy inside of the house, and it was so cute. And everybody in the house was like, no, we don't want those dogs in here. Get them out. Now we know that dogs, and I've said this before, dogs represent Gentiles. We are the Gentiles. We are the dogs. We've been cast out. Well, we're not really cast out. We're grafted in by Jesus's blood. We're grafted in to the tree. But we're adopted sons and daughters. But as far as how Israel views people that aren't under the Jewish law, we are dogs. We're Gentiles. So anyway, it stands for what I do on this channel. Like many of us, we've been commissioned. We've been set apart. We go and tell people about Jesus. We try to lead people to the blood, to the cross, so they can accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior and have salvation. And so the little baby puppies represent, little baby Gentiles. They need Jesus. They need to be saved. And me being in this house, Diana's house, represents, and they don't want these dogs in there, represents Jewish. And people that are under law, they don't believe that, Jesus alone saves you. So, hi. And so, in the dream, we were all leaving. Okay, I'd saved this puppy. It was in the house. The dad puppy ran somewhere. It didn't come in the house. It ran away. And we were packing the car. We were in the kitchen. There was me and like one other person. We were packing the car. We were leaving. And we were putting all these meats and chickens and hamburgers and everything to do with meat. We were putting them in these Burger King bags, and we were taking them all to the car. They were really heavy with meat, different meats. And so we know that the meats is the meat of the word. We're packing it up, you guys. We're getting ready to leave. Okay, when we leave, the Holy Spirit goes with us, and, there really won't be anybody. I mean, there's going to be tribulation saints where they come to God during the tribulation, and then they realize, hey, what these crazy Christian people were saying was true. But anyway, so the meat of the word, the bread of life, we're packing it up, okay? And then, okay, the puppy, I wrote the puppy's dad got loose, but I don't think it ever came in the house. But me and this other woman, we were following it, and we followed it to a fence down through the neighborhood, and beyond the fence, I had saw that the dad got hit by a car. And I was so devastated. And I also saw that soldiers and different people of authority were peeling pieces of this dog off the road. It was just smashed into the road, and they were trying to pick it up, and its body was falling apart as they tried to peel it off the road. And a helicopter hovered in the air over it, like it was watching it. And I said out loud, I said, I told you the oranges were a sign. And then I woke up. Now, the oranges, okay, this daddy dog is like Israel. They have rejected Jesus. They have rejected the redemption plan. Okay, sorry, people walking by. So, when I said, I told you the oranges were a sign, it made me think of the dream that I had with these military world leaders. They were all sitting at a table having a meeting, and they were all trading us. I was watching them talk about they were trading human beings for goods, and one of the military soldiers threw a bag of oranges up on the table and said, "This is what I have to offer." And I noticed there was one chair empty. And the guy came up. He was just dressed really nice, and he told everybody, he said, "Sorry, I'm late." And he sat down to the table. But I knew they were trading us like cattle. And they were one of them was trying to trade a bag of oranges. Now, I believe that represents Israel. You would think the lemon does, right? Now, I started researching this, and I found a few articles that I'm going to put in the link below, that oranges are a big and were a big part starting even before they became a nation. They were a huge export. And what was going on was the Arabs, the Palestinians, owned the land and had thousands upon thousands of acres of orange groves. And it was the biggest export production in Israel. And when Israel became a nation, then they were, like, wealthy Arabs owned these groves on Israel soil. It was in Jaffa. And when Israel became a nation, the Jews pushed them off of their land. And now it kind of, as I'm reading these articles, I could see it fueled the fire. And they've been like battling over this land. And even some, they turned a Russian when Russian women would come to visit or something, they had like a motel, they turned that into the place where they boxed these oranges. And in 2012, they were trying to make arrangements to give it back to the Russians. And there's just, these articles just talk about so many things, you guys. And I'm just like, wow. Here's some pictures. Jaffa oranges grown on Palestinian soil, stolen from us by Israel. Do not support retailers of stolen goods. Look at that. Jaffa oranges, war starts here. Propaganda, you guys. So when I said in the dream, I told you the oranges were a sign, I just believe that, and we're getting ready, we're leaving in this dream, the rapture, this war, Russia, I believe Russia bombing Israel is a sign that we are leaving. You can see these old photos. These photos were in I believe the 30s or 40s. Look at this one. This is what one of the articles was about. Boycott Israel, product of Israel. These two boys were going to be hanged, and they hid grenades in an orange. And yeah, it was all crazy. Visit Palestine, see ancient beauty revived, and it has the oranges because it's just full of orange groves. The tourist office of the Jewish Agency for Palestine, Jerusalem. They even had a stamp, 1956, with the oranges on it. Israeli stamp. Man, people are sick around here. Super sick. Here's another picture of them picking the oranges. Like I said, it was the biggest export. Orange Grove here. Here's Jaffa and all the zones. They even have a citrus house. I think that's what they called it. It's right here. Let's see. There's the port they used to use. I'm not sure if they still use it or not. But yeah. So the oranges are a significant thing in Israel. It caused a lot of political uproar, a lot of civil disputes. Israel trying to, take the land and I was just here. I'm going to read this to you too. The original citrus plantations were run by wealthy Arab landowners, and by 1845, exports numbered 200,000 oranges. This is the Jerusalem Post. The orange is the icon probably most widely associated with Israel. Years ago, as director of the British Israel Chamber of Commerce, my job was to approach British businessmen and encourage them to trade with Israel. Britain had a lot of trade going on with Israel. And the Lord's been talking to me about Brexit. And I never knew what it was, but since I had that dream, it's been just day after day. If you look at Rupsley, day after day, they've been talking about Theresa May and the citizens wanting her to step down and resign. And it's just crazy right now with Brexit. When asked what they knew about the country, they would inevitably reply, they saw oranges and have a first-class army. A visitor to Israel in those early years asked a tour guide friend of mine what they did with all the oranges. He replied, we eat what we can and we can what we can't. Right? So, the original citrus plantations were run by wealthy Arab landowners, and by 1845, okay, we know that. In 1850, Sir Moses Montefiore bought plots of land and planted orange groves, and 35 years later, get this, Baron Edmund de Rothschild planted further orchards in developing agricultural settlements such as Petta and Tikva. Rothschilds, you guys. From these early beginnings, the production of oranges developed until it became one of Israel's main exports. During the British Mandate period, oranges featured in a courageous and tragic event. Two young Jewish fighters, Meir Feinstein, 19, and Moshe Barazani, 20, were due to be hanged by the British forces on April 21st, 1947. Explosives were smuggled into the central Jerusalem prison where they were being detained. The other prisoners made hand grenades, which were then concealed in hollowed-out oranges. The boys' intention was to blow themselves up dramatically next to the hangman's noose. At the last minute, however, they had to change their plans, as the prison rabbi stated that he intended to stand next to the boys while they awaited execution so that the last face they saw on earth would be a friendly one. As such, while in their cell, the boys gave a Bible to their British guard, Thomas Goodwin, who had been kind to them, and asked him to go outside and pray for them. No one really recognizes Britain's role during this time in Israel. Inside the Bible, they gave him a note. Remember that we stood with dignity and marched with honor. It is better to die with a weapon in your hands than with hands raised in surrender. In 2008, Goodwin's grandson came to Jerusalem, met with Feinstein's family, and returned the Bible to them. The prison in question, it was the prison. Okay, I remember. In question was originally a hostel for Russian women pilgrims coming to the Holy Land. It is located in Jerusalem's Russian compound, an area containing several buildings of considerable beauty and architect, and where once again oranges featured. In 1964, the Russian government sold most of the Russian compound to the Israeli government and were paid in oranges. It was called the Orange Deal. I had heard that it was a box of oranges, but in fact, it was a rather large box. at a value of $3.5 million. And then in 2012, an agreement was reached to return part of the compound to the Russians. I wonder if the Russians will feel obliged to return any of the oranges. So that's an interesting article, you guys. And there's 2 other ones that I'm going to link if you want to, because I believe that this is all connecting in the political arena and the civil arena as well. And I don't want to make this video too long, but so in that same house, Diana's house, I had another dream, this was a long time ago, that everyone in the house was watching the Pope on TV. The Pope was speaking and they got on their knees in the living room before the Pope on TV. I yelled, "No, do not bow to him." Then they were passing out presents that had Barbie dolls inside. Now, I did a study on Barbie. Barbie was owned by a Jewish family, okay? And they were ripping the Barbies open, tearing them up, and they live on David Street, which means House of David, Jews law, okay? So that explains why only a few of us in that house were leaving and the other ones weren't. And why they didn't want, we were trying to save the puppy and the dad, but they didn't want him in there. That's like right now. That's like this world right now. It's law versus grace, you guys. And then November 22nd, I had a vision. I saw coffee cups on the edge of a stove. The first cup exploded into the cup next to it, like the liquid leaped into the cup next to it. After that, it was a chain reaction of liquid exploding into each cup. On the front of each cup was written a letter. Put together, it spelled Buick. B-U-I-C-K. Okay, so I already told you about the military leaders sitting at a table trading oranges. They wanted to kill us all, men, women, and children. And then Russia, Turkey, and Iran, I saw in a dream, I saw a quarter being pushed around on a map from Russia, Turkey, Iran, and then it slid down to Israel. And then another time after that, I heard Russia will bomb Israel. After that, I heard, I don't know if these are all in order, but I heard the tribulation is about to begin. America is on borrowed time. America launders around daggers. The world is going into the next phase. Behold, I come swiftly. War is coming, get prepared. A great earthquake is coming soon. And of course, my dream, I saw written on a burning fence, birth pains on the 20th and judgment on the 23rd. And a vision of a black Trojan horse pushed into Israel's gates. Now, you guys take this all to the Lord in prayer, and I have to get back into the hospital. But I love you guys, and God truly gives us things to research and think about, doesn't He? And He is an awesome God. You guys, we're getting ready to leave so soon, and God bless you guys.